Hello and welcome to the Lagos Transportation Agenda. This is a show where we highlight current events, examine topical issues, and anticipate emerging trends in the dynamic world of transportation. My name is Austin Iyan. The task of the Federal Road Safety Commission, FRSC, is, among others, to minimize, if not totally eliminate, road crashes and mishaps. Today on this show, we are looking at the precautions and measures the FRSC takes to ensure a safer driving and commuting experience on our roads. And to discuss this with me is Superintendent Route Commander Bisi Shonusi. She is the Sector Public Education Officer here at the FRSC's Lagos State Command. And it would interest you to know that she is the face behind that voice you hear on Ray Power FM on the traffic report every morning. So if you've been wondering, what does this woman look like? There she is. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Route Commander.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure.
All right. Superintendent Route Commander Bisi Shonusi and I will be discussing the FRSC's mandate and how it's been carrying it out over the years when the Lagos Transportation Agenda returns after this time out. Please don't go away.
Great economies are built on good transportation network. This is why Lagos State Government through LAMATA has been working tirelessly to enhance the state's transport infrastructure and implement the Strategic Transport Master Plan (STMP) for Lagos and create a world-class transport network for the metropolis. The STMP would deliver 6 rail lines, 1 monorail, 14 BRT routes, 26 water transport routes, 3 cable car routes, and several road intervention to promote the integration of the transport modes. When all these projects are completed, there will be lower emission, leading to better health for all, lower road crashes, better quality of life, and faster economic growth. With the BRT already running in some corridors, jetties being upgraded, and rail line from Okokomaiko to CMS coming on board soon, life of Lagosians in the face of Lagos is changing every day. A healthier and more prosperous Lagos is in the making, and LAMATA is driving it. LAMATA, keeping Lagos moving.
Welcome back. Is the Lagos Transportation Agenda, and Superintendent Route Commander Bisi Shonusi is my guest today. As I said, she is the Sector Public Education Officer here at the Lagos State Command of the FRSC. Now, in your estimation as an expert on these matters, what are the chief causes of traffic accidents and road crashes? Chief causes.
Okay, we have 3 major causes of road traffic crashes. We have the human factor, we have the mechanical, and we have the environmental factor. And it will interest you that the human factor contributes much more to the crashes we witness, because when you talk about the human factor, you're talking about the driver, who is the person who actually drives the vehicle, and the state of mind of that person comes to bear in either causing a crash or preventing it. And most of what we witness as carnages on our roads are preventable. The reason is if the driver is not overconfident, is not driving under the influence of alcohol or drugs, and is not engaged in using phone while he's driving, which we call distracted driving, and is not fatigued while driving, you will know that the other 2 causes won't come to play at all. And when we talk about the other 2 causes, we're talking about the vehicle itself. Then when we talk about the environment, we're talking about the road, the weather condition, and all that. Like this morning, you know, we all woke up to more like an hazy, foggy weather. And so the driver, which is the human factor, will now have to determine how to drive under that special condition, be it rain or the foggy weather. So when we talk about crashes, these 3 factors plays the major, is how we have categorized what causes crashes on our road. We don't call it accident. You know, accident is just sudden occurrence.
Yes.
But what we witness most time is crashes because they are preventable, they are avoidable. And that's why we say crashes don't just happen. It's always caused by somebody.
Exactly.
So if you're out there every time, we've always preached, don't let it be you.
So over the years, especially since the FRSC was formed, have we seen an increase or a decrease in accidents, or rather, let me use your word, crashes, preventable crashes on our roads over the years?
Okay.
And why is that so?
Okay, you know, for FRSC as an agency and for Lagos Command as a whole, FRSC every year sets out goals that must be smart in the sense that it must be specific, it must be measurable, achievable, it must be realistic and something that is time bound. So once we set all these goals every year, all the men and machineries are put in place to make sure that we achieve that as a corporate entity. And at the end of the year, what we'll do after our end of the year patrol, that always ends the next year, like we had from December till January 15th, 2023. We still come back with all the data and now analyze them to say, okay, how well did we fare concerning the target of what we have set in 2022. And I would say, yes, we had some level of increase to some extent. This was possible because at some point we were having crashes as a result of night journey. Especially at construction access corridors, and these were crashes that had lots of fatalities. You know, what the whole world is planning now is, if crashes will happen, it should not lead to death. Yes, we might have someone injured, but that person should not die. And that is the target of what FRSC is also setting. So I would say, when we go back and we evaluated how far we have done, I wouldn't say there was a marginal increase in the rate of crashes. And this year we have set another goal again. This year we're looking at, we must ensure that we have 5% reduction when it comes to fatality, so that we don't have death at all. And we reduce the level of fatality also in 2023. So I would say marginally there was a slight increase. If you look at what this current commercial gave out, there was a slight increase. And for Lagos as a command, Lagos is blessed because if you look at the team agenda of Mr. Governor, transportation is top. And for us in Lagos, when the governor himself is interested in transportation, you will know that he's going to put all machinery in place to ensure that transportation is seamless, that crashes is also reduced. And I would say in Lagos, yes, we had some level of crashes. Just like I said, we had some night journey that had lots of fatalities, and some were even burnt. If you remember the case of Epe, they were coming at night from the north, and we had all the occupants of that vehicle burnt to death. So we are looking at this year, moving forward, that, okay, we are setting out agenda advocacy to ensure that we sensitize people on need to avoid crashes that could lead to death. All right.
Now, you talked about slight increase here and there and so on, and in some cases I'm sure you had some encouraging news. But I'm looking at the voluntary adherence to your regulations and to road rules and so on by not just drivers, road users, but also commuters, even pedestrians. Do you see a general culture of adherence, more and more adherence, or less over time?
Well, I feel a lot of motorists and all the road users now are conscious of how to commute. Because just as I said, the team agenda of the governor is transportation, which is at top, and is setting every motion in place. You see jingles run in some stations to educate and sensitize motorists on needs to use maybe pedestrian bridges where they are available, how to cross the road, and also for drivers, how they should maintain their vehicles and how to move people from one point to the other. So with that and lots of other programs, advocacy from FRSC and other traffic agencies, I feel a lot of commuters are more conscious of using the road now. You know, information is key.
Of course.
And once you are informed, it helps you to also understand what you need to do. You make better decisions while using the road. So I feel for motorists around this environment, they are more conscious and they are more exposed because they have better information as to how to commune and be safe on the road.
All right, before we go on break, beyond the incentive of you stay alive, you save your life and that of others, you avoid injuries and so on, as you have rightly said. Is there FRSC thinking in terms of encouraging good behavior in a proactive way on our roads?
Yes, some years back, I think before COVID came, we partnered with an agency who celebrated good behaviors in drivers. And for us, we keyed into it because we felt it was a platform where before now, anyone who errs on the road is sanctioned either by giving tickets or even arraigned in court. And when that program came up, we keyed into it because we felt it's a better platform to celebrate someone who are driven on the road without crash, who are the clean records and all that. We have some multinationals also who have fleets, lots of fleets, and you found out that most of their drivers have not been involved in crashes over the years. And what we do is that anytime we have opportunity or platforms to celebrate such multinational organization, we say it. But I am also, just as you said, moving forward, I know that Mr. Governor will be able to listen to this. I think we can come up with something to celebrate good driving culture. At least anyone who has a clean record of no crashes over a long period of driving should be celebrated. So for us moving forward, any platform that wants to celebrate good driving will definitely, as FRSC, key into such, and such people will be celebrated. Wow,
that's it. When we come back on the show, we also will be moving forward, looking forward to the future of driving and commuting on our roads with Superintendent Route Commander Bisi Shonusi after this time out. Don't go away.
Driver tiredness and fatigue is a killer on our roads. Too many rollover crashes and head-on collisions are caused by drivers falling asleep behind the wheel. Signs of driver tiredness include struggling to keep the eyes open, yawning frequently, and slow reaction times. A tired driver may also wander across the centre line and drift across other lanes, over road markings, or follow other vehicles too closely and have trouble remembering the last few kilometres. Stop and rest before it is too late.
If you're just joining, it's the Lagos Transportation Agenda, and my guest is Superintendent Route Commander Bisi Shonusi of the FRSC's Lagos Sector Command. Now, looking forward, as we said from before we went to the break, the United Nations has a decade of action against road crashes and so on. And I know Nigeria is a very enthusiastic signatory to that particular decade of action. What's the assessment on the success or otherwise of this decade of action? And then also, what synergy do you have as FRSC with, let's say, partners, not just both inside Nigeria and outside, or inside Lagos State and outside, including the private sector?
Okay, for us, when the UN Decade of Action came out, FRSC as an organization was well celebrated because, if you remember, it was a 5-pillar, and the number one is the setting up of a traffic management agency. Okay. And for Nigeria was celebrated because long before the Decade of Action, FRSC had been in existence, managing traffic, yes, and managing crashes, ensuring that the roads are safe. And at the end of the day, because that became one of the pillars, a lot of African countries had to come to Nigeria to take the platform that FRSC had already established, okay, to replicate that in their own country. So you know from this preamble that FRSC had keyed into it even long before the decade came, and after we just flow with it, and exactly, we've been keeping up with it. Then the agenda was that we reduce road traffic crashes by 50%. And at the end of the day, 50% was for the whole of the world. Yes. And we are not yet there. Okay. Because aside from what we also did to key into that pillar was that to encourage states to start establishing traffic management agencies. Yes, yes. And you remember that was what gave birth also to Lagos State Traffic Management Agency, LASMA. So with LASMA on board, the team agenda, which is the first one with the first T, which is transport-related issue, we had keyed into that decade. Now is 2020 to 2030, and we are 3 years already into that. And what majorly FRSC is looking at, from what I had said earlier, is that yes, crashes can happen. But what we want to prevent now is when it happens, it does not lead to death. So what we are doing is to set out a lot of programs into ensuring that we educate, we sensitize the motoring public on need for safe driving at all times. Exactly. And amongst that, what we've been doing over time is to do what we call early morning cry. We go to parks very early in the morning, passengers and drivers leaving so early in the morning to go out of Lagos. Our men, once they are deployed out, they first go to the parks to talk to them, talk to the driver, tell them what the driver's responsibilities are, even the passengers, that you as passengers needs to also speak out. Exactly. That when you see something, you have to say something, so that everyone we move from point A to point B without crashes. Exactly. And also further from that, we've also been going to churches, mosques, corporate organizations, yes, to talk about need for safe driving and things like that. Okay. And we have also started engaging school, catching them young, yes, that we use children as ambassadors of safety, road safety, to talk to their parents also on need for safe driving at all times. And we do lots of advocacies too. Right. So all hands are on deck, and we are also working. We're working tirelessly to ensure that at the end of the decade, worldwide, Nigeria as a whole is not left out of that 50% reduction, exactly, in road traffic crashes. Exactly. So we are not going to relent. All right.
There's this, I have a problem of maybe sometimes when people see something and say something. So my question basically is, what's the mechanism to respond to people who see something and say something?
Okay, what majorly both FRSC and Lagos has done is to create a platform for feedback.
Okay.
And I will say, for you to say something, we have toll-free lines now that you can call, and that toll-free line, this is how it works. You give them the routes where you're applying, and the nearest point, any of our patrol team very close to where you're moving into is called from the central call center to pull such vehicle off, and the response to whoever had made the complaint, so that you know that yes, it's been escalated and someone is there to enforce. So for you know, for FRSC, the toll-free emergency number is 122. And for Lagos, we know it's 767-112.
Wow.
So rather than, if you feel before now, you've made such complaint to an individual and is not really responding, why not try the toll emergency number and see how active and responsive it is. You know, majorly, 122 is anyone committing outside the state, because you know FRSC is along is a federal agency. So I'm going to Osogbo, for instance, and I see any infraction done by maybe a vehicle that is also very close to us as we are moving, and you want to report. All you need to do is take the registration number of such vehicle. We are presently at Onigari, for instance, and we are very close to Ibadan. Any of our operative or patrol vehicle along that line is called from our call center, and they are moved. Once you can describe vividly, is a white bus, and is moving, you get the registration number. I am very sure you'll be surprised that vehicles will be stopped. You know, they will do traffic calming, and such vehicle will be pulled over. So rather than moving to someone who will not respond, please always explore by calling those toll-free emergency number. Just as I said, FRSC is 122. Lagos is 767 and 112. 767. It's not costing you anything. It's toll-free.
Wonderful. Okay, on the final note then, I'm sure you have some final words for individuals, because at the end of the day, sometimes one person can make a difference to this whole issue. So you talk to your people as to any issue we've not covered here that people need to be aware of and to do.
Okay, let me start by saying that we should remember that road safety is a joint responsibility. It begins with every one of us. Whether you're the driver, you're a pedestrian, you're a cyclist, a motorcyclist, or anyone using the road. To ensure safety of everyone on the road begins with every one of us. Our action or inaction contributes to crashes that we witness on the road. So if you're out there, please, if you're a pedestrian, use the pedestrian bridge to cross over. Don't dash through the expressway or the highway. And if you're a driver, please ensure that you don't speed, that you use safe tire. You don't engage in use of phone while driving, and also avoid drunk driving or use of drugs while driving. And don't forget, fatigue also contributes to crashes. So please give your body the desired rest. And at the end of the day, you'll be shocked that the road will be safer for us, and every one of us will come in without crashes.
Well said. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I've been talking to Superintendent Route Commander Bisi Shonusi of the Lagos State Sector Command of the Federal Road Safety Commission. As she has said, if you see something, say something. Contribute your quota to making sure we have a safe driving and commuting experience on our roads. And let me leave you with those numbers again. For FRSC, 122. And for the other?
Lagos State is 767 and 112.
767 112 for the Lagos State. And that has been the size of our show today. The Lagos Transportation Agenda will return next week at this time, by God's grace, and I hope to see you then. Until then, this is Austin here saying, stay safe. If you see something, say something. God bless you. Bye-bye.